Neelakantanji, do you want to say any prayer?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Prajnanagana Evaham Vijnanaganagyevacha Akartaham Abhoktaham Ahameva Ahamavyaya Prajnanaganagyevaha. I am a mass of awareness. Vijnanaganayevacha. I am a mass of consciousness. Akartaham abhuktaham. I am not the doer, I am not the enjoyer. Ahameva ahamavyaya. I am the very self, indestructible and changeless. Shanti, shanti, shanti.
Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Anyone wants to say anything, talk about anything? When our mind abides in this pure silence, this mind surrenders to the self. When the mind surrenders to the self and you recognize this self, then whether mind stays or not, it doesn't matter. Mind doesn't create any problem to anyone. Neither the body. Only our identification with it. Another thing is that the one who is not in any search, who is completely in deep illusion, taking it as only reality, mind doesn't trouble that person also. Because he is not looking as a trouble, he takes him as that trouble. He never questions it. It is an issue only for a seeker. when you start noticing a gap between you and the body-mind complex, then this is a pull for liberation. Then you don't tolerate mind at all. Then you don't like ego. Ego, which is worshipped by Maya, by the word created by Maya. We all know what people can do for their name and fame. Extension of that is media, Google, everything. We can go to any extent to get Google reviews or whatever it could be. We are not interested in truly what we really are, but we are interested more in what others think what we are. There is a huge difference between two things. Jnani has no interest in what others think. He knows what he or she is. We are not he, we are not she, we are nothing. Formless has no sex, no name. And formless never dies. Form changes and dies. But formless, that pure energy, if you really want to know who is witnessing and who is giving energy to whatever is happening, is that pure self. Somewhere in this conditioning, we come one step down and think we are in this movie, playing a role. It is like digression. We have moved down from that esteemed state which is eternal, in which we all are all the time. What religion, what spiritual practice, what you want to do. If you understand this truth, raw truth, the way it is, in spite of having a body, in spite of playing a role through this body, you can be free in this moment. Self needs no practice. Self is always free. Self is always uninvolved. If internally you know that you are uninvolved, then you are already free. Now you don't have to do anything to be free. Just be. If you really look into teaching of any sage, including Bhagavan, that's the way he used to say to everyone, you are already free. If you don't agree, if you don't feel, then he used to say, look, which I are you talking from? I am doing, I am suffering, I am going. He used to say, actually, self-inquiry was his second method, not the first method. First method was silence. Someone commented on YouTube that you are a Bhagavan devotee. And you talk about witnessing. Witnessing is Nisargadatta Maharaj's practice. Why do you talk about that? The one who points like this is definitely more interested in methods rather than liberation. A person who wants to liberate doesn't bother from where teaching or practice has come. Who is saying it? The one who is thirsty does not ask from where you got this water from. He will just drink it. But the one who is just testing, he is not thirsty, he's just looking around, can talk all sorts of language. The one who is looking for liberation can pick up any method from any religion, any sect, any sage. He just wants to be out of this egoistic mind. Doesn't matter whether it comes from Bhagavan or Nisargadatta Maharaj or anyone. Whole issue is with our identity. If you identify yourself only as a Bhagavan devotee and rest of the things are separate from you, you are now in a trap of Bhagavan Satsang group. That can also be a very big trap. It is just you give a name to something, workable name, as the name given to this body mind. It has no meaning. Real meaning is in your own liberation. You take up one identity from the mind, it creates another to get rid of this, and then another to get rid of that. Then people say, we are now into non-duality teachings, Advaitic teachings. Previously, I was in japa. Doesn't matter. Sometimes people ask me this question that I had a teacher, I had a teaching, I had a religion. Now I'm jumping into these types of teachings, I'm feeling guilty. What is this guilt about? What is this guilt about? your own identity with previous teachers, previous teachings, or whatever you were doing. It is attachment only. It is ego which attaches to one thing and then moves to another thing. It has its past recognition with those things in form of guilt. And it's all within the domain of spirituality. See how ego can continue its existence even on spiritual paths. In the name of practice, it stays. Understand this truth. Don't look for practices, look for liberation. When you talk to people, interact in daily life, see from where you are acting, from heart or from your mind. Just stay as that pure silence. Let that absolute decide for you. Decide everything for you. Let him take decisions on your behalf. Live a life where you have no plans. Then all your plans will be divine planning. And then you will disappear. And that is end of the story of ego. Have courage to be there as a witness to things and beings and situations. Believe me, this state is indescribable. If someone says to you there is peace, there is bliss, you cannot understand. You don't know any peace or bliss. As ego, you only know happiness and sorrow. You can go up like a wave when things are conducive to your own intentions and ambitions. And then you feel sorrow when things are going against your wishes. Peace is equal to contentment. Bliss emanates when you're always contented. When you are in total acceptance with your own failure also. For you, it is not a failure. For you, it is that state, whatever it is, of body. Because you are that stateless state, changeless. Abide in your pure silence all the time. This silence doesn't mean that you are not speaking. Or there is no noise around you. Silence is your other name. Awareness has no language. Language is coming from mind. Mind using brain as its seat, thoughts coming out as words into speech. But silence is all pervading all the time. When Bhagavan says that I am not going anywhere, he is talking about the same silence pervading everywhere. It is outside time and space. It is timeless. When you grasp this silence, then death cannot touch you. Death can reach only to transient forms. In recognition, we call everything as unreal. Why? Because reality should be something which never changes, which is eternal. If it changes, if it is present sometime and not other times, then how can you call it real? You are that reality which never changes. We identify with so many things in this world. Let's now identify with something which is unidentifiable, pure awareness. Why liberation is so difficult? Because we don't want to give up our identity. And if identity is at one point, that's understandable. Our identity is in thousands of things. To win this battle against all these identities, you need to surrender to this pure self. That is much more easier than doing any practice. because all practices keeps you alive. I am doing. Doership is there. Then where is liberation? Contemplate on this deeply, not from your mind, from your heart. And be seated in your heart as pure self. No one has seen God. Even if someone has seen God, that is your own mental imagination which you have seen. Without seeing Him, without He giving His form in front of us, how beautifully He governs everything in silence. Understand power of this pure silence. You have always given importance to mind, your thoughts, which help you to plan. Now start giving importance to this silence. The same silence is taking care of millions of universes, trillions of beings. You will realize most of the things it is maintaining beautifully. Some chaos you see comes from our egoistic minds, which try to live a life separate from that absolute and creating all sorts of disturbances. I feel this liberation is not just for few people. It is the call of the day. It is really, really an emergency now. I received a message from a news editor about mental health issues in Australia. Almost 40% of young people from 16 to 24 years of age suffering from some mental health issue. 40% of our youth. Because this society has taught us only one thing: how to boost your ego. Each generation has only told next generation how to boost your ego, how to be more productive as we are machines, how to compete, how to debate, leaving others behind, how to be most selfish. Even when we talk about helping others, we are only helping ourselves as ego. People talk about all sorts of atrocities, animal cruelty and all those things. If you abide in your heart, you can't be cruel even with this body or anybody or anything. If all people are given this teaching to look within and find your jewel within your heart and abide in it, how beautiful the world would be. And not practicing at middle age or later age, starting from day one, even before you go to school. How good it would be if there is a class every day at school helping you to abide in pure self. Maybe you might be less productive, but you will be more peaceful, contented. What practice do you need to be what you are? This unseen is so powerful that all the power you're trying to gain going outwardly is only transient. This power, when you come into, will be with you eternally. While outside power you might feel one day, but that will be snatched by death of the body one day. Connect with all beings from your heart always. I'm not talking about any emotional person connecting, hugging, crying. I'm not talking about like that. If you connect like that, one day you will connect, another day you will detach. Essence of our being is love. Love only knows to give, and love is unconditional. And love does not restrict you to your clan or to your society or culture. It is infinite. And still, if you have no clue, then look Bhagavan's life. From a squirrel to monkey, he had no demarcation even among animals or plants. Leave aside human beings. Connect with your source as source, and then you connect with everything. Because everything has the same essence. Outside, we all look different, but inside, that energy, that self is exactly the same in quality, in quantity. No one is less or more. If you leave domain of your mind and start living your life from your heart, your pull to lead previous life might be there, but just stay there. And because this is our natural state, in a short while there is nothing which is pulling you out. When we abide as pure awareness, death becomes our friend because it does the last thing. Dependency on the body is gone, and what is there is only left. While for ego, death, even thinking about death, leads to fear. Be free from your illusion right now. No need of any practice. Just be. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.